Hello and welcome to the Hardcore Gamers Club. My name is Daniel and this video is Q&A I get about the PlayStation 4 HDMI ports. Pretty much everybody already knows that when the PS4s were put out, especially the newer ones, the HDMI ports that were used in the systems were some of the cheapest on the market and were very easily damaged when unplugging and plugging them back in. I get these questions. I've had a lot of people ask questions about that on my channel, and I've had a few people offer suggestions to other people on my channel that really have no clue as to what they're talking about whenever it comes to electronics and giving bad advice. So I'm going to give you my advice in video form regarding your HDMI ports. Question I get a lot is from them watching other videos on other people's channels, should I use an HDMI port extender to prevent damage if I unplug my PS4 from time to time? My personal opinion is absolutely not. It's not a good idea. Why? Well, because it leaves something sticking out of the backside of your system that can easily be banged and break your port completely, as opposed to just damaging it slightly. Alright, so best thing to do is use your mind and think, hey, if I pull this out and I unplug it and I turn this way and it bangs something, it's going to rip that port in an angle and just destroy that port completely. Where if I and that could lead to trace damage and component damage on the inside of the box. But if I just unplug it and plug it back in, then at best all I do is crinkle one of the pins and I have to replace the port. So what is the best prevention for the port as far as damage is concerned? Hey guys, it's common sense. Alright, you know the port is cheap, so whenever you go to move your system, you pull it out very gently, you grab the port by its plug, don't just reach back there and yank it out, grab the port by its plug, pull it straight out. Okay, and then whenever you go to plug it back in, you face that box toward you, put that port in straight and even, and then gently plug it in. It takes a whole of a half a second longer, and it's a lot cheaper than buying a port extender that has the possibility of being caught on something and being damaged. Now, as far as your PS4 falling out of, off of whatever you got, that port extender is not going to help you any way whatsoever. It's going to break the port the same as if you just had the plug in it. So the port extender's not a good idea. I know a lot of people that sell the port extenders go on here and post comments, buy a port extender, buy a port extender, you can get them here on eBay, here's a link. They just want to sell you stuff. Okay, the best prevention for the damage of the port, one last time, is common sense. You know the port's cheap, be gentle with it, treat it like glass. Right? Anytime you move your system, make sure you pull the plug out nice and straight. Anytime you put the system back, plug it in nice and straight. And if at all possible, once you get the system set up, do not unplug the system and move it unless you're planning on cleaning it. And if you want to go one step further, after unplugging it, take yourself a magnifying glass, look at that port, see if any of the pins has popped free from that little plastic. Because at that point, before you shove that port back in and crinkle that pin, you could potentially take something like this, which is a dental pick, put just a tiny little bit of crazy glue on the very edge tip of it, slide it up underneath the copper pin, get a little bit of that crazy glue on the bottom side of the pin that just managed to pop up a little bit, and then turn it over and then push that port down. That will lock that pin back in place. But be careful, you don't want to get a whole lot of crazy glue on it, and you don't want to get crazy glue on the top side of the pin. So unless you feel absolutely comfortable that you can do that without damaging it, then, you know, just a thought for you. But that would be a way to prevent any damages from plugging it back in, would be to actually inspect the port, make sure the pin didn't pop just from the heat of the box over time, because they're just glued on lightly. So that's the Q&A for the HDMI port for the PS4s.